The Magdala Stone is a focal point for visitors and guests because not only does it arouse great interest in the ancient history of this land, but it also raises questions in each individual as they try to understand its signs and symbols, and they engage us as we peer into its mystery. It remains a mystery. And so we seek to know its message, the message it gave to the ancients, the message that it gave to the people of this land, and the message that it gives to each and every one of us. 2 and 3.
This place, this hotel, this synagogue, and this site around it is a unique phenomenon.
Its invaluable historical, religious, cultural, and artistic health only makes sense in its original context. As a bridge, the Magdala Stone, now back in Magdala, allows us to open our sense to connect with the people who were here in this time of this splendor.
So to see the stone coming back today is a big joy, is a sign of a very good cooperation. Putting together ancient times and modern times, I think, is a window open to the future. We can rewrite something about the history, the relationship, and I hope that Magdala will be that bridge that will help people encounter, meet, understand, love, and plan, hopefully, a better future.
This stone was in this town for 2,000 years, covered. No one had seen it. It's an honor as a major to have this treasure, the Magdala Stone, in my community. We are very happy for this place and for all the tourists that are supporting Magdala and our city from around the world. Now, whenever someone listens to the word Migdal, they will already know where it is. The Magdala Stone puts us in the map. Before, everyone had to search in the map. Now, for sure, all will know. This is very important as we are developing an important tourist area. I am sure this hotel will bring more tourism to this area, especially with the importance of the Magdala Stone being found here. It is an important and exciting situation with an important cultural and historical value. This comes from God, from up on high. The Magdala Stone has been in different places during this time, and now it is God's wish to bring it back home.
I think for all the archaeologists, this is when we discover something, it's not matter it is small or bigger. The important is that we found something that speaks for the people who use or who made this thing. And this stone is speak about the people who use the synagogue, who are reading the Torah in this stone, and also get us the opportunity to understand more about our past, our origins as a Jewish, as a beginning of the Christian here in Magdala. And for all of the archaeologists, I think when we discover something small or bigger, it's important. It's not matter that it's bigger or not. But this stone, as a unique piece, is very important for the archaeologists here in Israel, and also for the Mexican archaeologists who work here, as me, that working here in Magdala. It's a very important pieces. We don't have the opportunity to be here for the pandemic 2 years, but in this year the idea is to working in our own research to get our first book or report with all of the material, that analysis from different universities that help us, and to get to the people and to the Magdala the interpretation that we have until this moment about the people who live in Magdala. And the idea is to continue with excavation in the next year for another 5 years. And the archaeology is a social science, and we need to go slowly to learn more about the objects, but the most important is to learn about the people who use and who made all of these things.
Magdala Stone is an unicum. It's a unique object. It is an unknown collection of what I think to be Jewish symbolism, which symbolizes the temple in Jerusalem. There are other scholars in the world who suggested that this is only a collection of just decorations, but I have no doubt that it represents the temple in Jerusalem, and for Jews who cannot walk to Jerusalem every time they wanted from Galilee because it is a week to Jerusalem hiking and a week back. Therefore, not everyone could go for a pilgrimage in Jerusalem. They were here, they looked at the stone, they felt Jerusalem and the temple and God in their hearts. And that's the meaning of this stone. I believe that the stone was a base for a Torah reading. I tried to prove it in my article, but it is an important object for understanding the life of Jews in the Galilee, the life of Jews in the first century. This is the time when Christianity was born. So these are the foundations of both rabbinic Judaism after the destruction of the temple and Christianity. So this stone represents not only, it is not an archaeological object, it is a representation of beliefs of both Jews and later on Christians. Therefore, it is gives a lot of honor to the hotel, which invested so much money. All the organization, Legionaries of Christ, invested so much time and money to preserve the site and to prevent any damage to the antiquities. And finally, it came here for a display for a long time, I assume, and that will enable the visitors of the hotel and the visitors of the site to come and see the original. They have the replica in the center of the synagogue, but to see the original, it's a great honor.
And I was here, and I took myself the stone with some other workers on the truck that removed it from the site at the very beginning of January 2010. So it was up to me to say goodbye to the stone, willing that sometime would come back. And for that, today was a very, very emotional day for me, because to welcome back the stone to Magdala has been a great joy. Something that sometimes I thought it was even impossible, but came back, and I am so happy for that, and so thankful with the authorities of Israel about that. The Magdala Stone has been identified by the authorities of Israel as one of the most important archaeological findings. Why? Because it portrays the Temple of Jerusalem, which is amazingly important and meaningful. And to be found at the center of a synagogue from the first century before the destruction of the temple has a lot of meaning. Of course, for the state of Israel, for the Jewish people, and also for Christians as well, and for Magdala. Let me recall an expression of the late Shuka Dorfman, the director of the Antiquities Authority at the time of the discovery. He came, he was looking around, he was very impressed, very emotional also about the discovery, and he said something that I really treasure in my heart. He said, the Magdala Stone has to come back here, because this synagogue without the stone is like a beheaded body. So for me, it was a very impressive image of how he understood the importance of the stone at its place, at its original place. So for us today, it's like putting together again the head and the body of the Magdala Synagogue. The stone belongs to Magdala. because Magdala is a landmark, it's a historical place, and it has its personality and it's important in itself. No matter who runs the place, no matter who owns the land or who does whatever, Magdala is Magdala, and I think that the Magdala Stone belongs to Magdala. Magdala as a hometown of Mary Magdalene is a treasure for all Christians. But when we discovered the synagogue and the entire town of Magdala from the first century, said it belongs not to all Christians but also to the Jewish people. And for that reason, we trying to understand and to define Magdala, we said Magdala is a crossroads of Jewish and Christian history. And for that reason, we meet together here. We met in the past, we meet now, and hopefully we will meet in the future. Thank you very much.